Hello, everyone. I wanted to talk a little bit more about artificial sweeteners because this is a graph showing sugar intake over the past couple of decades and obesity trends and artificial sweetener intake. As you can see, obesity has been climbing steadily over the past several decades, and sugar intake has increased dramatically since the 1800s. And now it's at the point that people eat about their own body weight in sugar per year, which is a significant amount. It used to be about 4 or 5 pounds a year. But sugar intake has trended downward in the past couple of decades, but artificial sweetener intake has increased dramatically over the past several decades, and the obesity rates continue to go up. So if sugar intake decreasing, you would expect obesity to decrease since it seems like we're substituting sugar for these artificial sweeteners, but that has not been the case. So why is that? And there's a lot of studies that show many reasons why that might be the case. Here's a review paper talking about how artificial sweeteners are not the answer to childhood obesity. So we know that kids love sugar. I mean, everyone loves sugar, but kids especially love sugar. And sugary beverages are a big problem. And what it shows is that there are lots of problems with artificial sweeteners because they interfere with basic learning processes. So basically what happens is when you taste something sweet, your brain suspects or thinks that there's sugar coming down the pipeline. So it gets kind of your body ready, primed to process sugar. And when that does not happen, it gets confused. So it has impaired blood glucose regulation. It alters the gut microbiome, and this can contribute to impaired glucose regulation and increased obesity. And so what this shows is their main problem with having these hyper-sweetened foods and beverages at young ages is that you may have kids that have sweet preferences that persist into adulthood. And so the best strategy for kids and for adults is not to replace sugar with sweeteners, but to reduce sweetener intake overall. All right. Here's another paper between the association between artificial sweeteners and obesity. This is a review paper. They're talking about how they find in recent findings, although artificial sweeteners were developed as a sugar substitute to help reduce insulin resistance and obesity because they don't have calories, data in both animal models and humans suggest that the effect of sweeteners may contribute to metabolic syndrome and the obesity epidemic. Artificial sweeteners appear to change the host microbiome, lead to decreased satiety. So that means when you eat sugar, you kind of feel like you've gotten some food, so you don't need to eat as much. With artificial sweeteners, your brain does not get that input. It alters glucose hemostasis and is associated with increased calorie consumption and weight gain. So, kind of paradoxically, when you take when you eat foods with non-caloric sweeteners, they have less calories, but you consume more of it. So your intake is actually more, and you have weight gain from that. Um, so chronic low-calorie sweetener use and risk of abdominal obesity in a cohort study. So they looked at, with 10 years of follow-up, low-calorie sweetener users had higher body mass index. So people that use um, low-calorie sweeteners tend to be heavier than people that don't use low-calorie sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners and metabolic dysregulation. So this is results from animal studies in both the agricultural sector and laboratory sector indicate that sweeteners may not only promote food intake, so they make people eat more food and weight gain, but induce metabolic alterations in a wide range of animal species. As a result, simple substitution of artificial sweeteners for sugars in humans may not produce the intended consequences. Instead, consumption of artificial sweeteners may contribute to increases in risk for obesity or its attendant negative health consequences. All right, so here we go. This is a paper published in Nature several years ago, and this is the paper where they tried giving people sucrose. This is table sugar, glucose, which is a component of the sugar. That's what the fuel that a lot of our body runs on. Saccharin, which you guys know what that is. Sucralose, that is splenda, and aspartame, and that is nutrasweet. And what they showed is when they fed this to mice, it screwed up their gut microbiome and basically made them fatter and had poor glucose regulation. Then people are big into natural sweeteners. There's monk fruit extract and stevia. These are from plants, And so they're thought to be natural and therefore healthier. And just because something is natural does not mean it's healthier, because lots of things are natural and found in plants, such as things like cyanide, and that is definitely not good for you. There's a lot of toxic substances and things that cause metabolic derangements and other things that are from plants. They're completely natural, but they're not necessarily good for you. But there's monk fruit extract and stevia. These are thought to be better sources than the laboratory-made artificial sweeteners, but they probably have the same problems. They cause decreased satiety. This is where they had 30 healthy male subjects drink beverages with sugar, NutraSweet, monk fruit extract, stevia. What happened is that when those people ate beverages with stevia, monk fruit, or spartamine, those have no calories in the beverages, but they just ate more food because they felt less full. And so the consumption of calorie-free beverages with artificial and natural non-nutritive sweeteners have minimal influences on daily total intake, postprandial glucose, and insulin. So it doesn't help them control their glucose levels, it doesn't help with their insulin resistance, and it doesn't help them eat less calories. Um, Recent evidence for the effect of on glycemic control. So this is thinking about glycemic control, and they tested stevia and monk fruit extract. It does not help with glycemic control, so this is not going to help diabetics. Um, then effect of stevia on the gut microbiome and glucose intolerance. So this one, they tested in mice, low fat, high fat plus saccharin, high fat plus stevia. Stevia and saccharin caused the same changes in the gut microbiome of these mice. And so stevia and saccharin were very much the same in these models. So what it shows is basically um, using non-nutritive sweeteners, including the natural ones like stevia and monk fruit extract, they cause people to eat more food, gain more weight, and does not help with glucose metabolism and insulin resistance. So it doesn't really help with any of the things that they were thought to help. The issue is people probably just need to decrease their need for sweeteners overall, and just take taking sweetened beverages, probably the easiest thing to take off the table, and just less sweets overall, and then have less of a sweet preference in their foods overall. Um, Switching sugar for uh, these artificial sweeteners and natural sweeteners is probably worse than just using sugar. I mean, we use way too much sugar, but trying to substitute sugar for these non-nutritive sweeteners like stevia, splenda, monk fruit extract, nutrasweet, saccharin, all those things. In many ways, it's probably worse than actual sugar itself. Okay, I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.